Pratima has been opening the Fashion Week for the last 5 years, and she's known as the Chanderi Queen. She actually brought Chanderi to mainstream fashion 10 years back. And ever since then, she's been one of the opening designers. And very interesting, you're going to hear her because she has been teaching at the National School of Drama along with NIFT as well. And it would be very interesting to hear from her because we're going to be talking about 360-degree design, not only fashion, because when you talk about fashion, it covers everything. You talk about set design, you're talking about communication design because you're maintaining a profile, you're maintaining a social media status, you're maintaining a brand. And then when you look at your store, it speaks about volume, about who you are, what your product is. So spatial design is something we're going to again touch upon. So guys, be attentive to your, the questions that you have. So she's very interactive, and we are great that she's been on our advisory board and she's been offering sessions to our students from time to time basis. So we're going to have Pratima who's going to join us soon. Hi, nice to see you.
Hi, nice to see you.
So Pratima, I just shared about you and that, you started your journey being an academic too. And it's been like 10 years of the Prama brand and you're opening with the fashion show, the Amazon Fashion Week every year after year. So Pratima, my question to you here is, so we're going to see a couple of pictures of Pratima here on the ramp. So
yes. This is from my Leela collection.
The Leela collection.
Yeah, it's the Leela collection.
Okay, got it.
Almost 2 years old, yes.
Do you have more pictures of Pratima?
Yeah.
Oh, that's from Jack and Jill.
Oh, that's an interesting name, Jack and Jill, huh?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a story. What got you to Jack and Jill?
We have all stories. I like to weave stories around every collection. Yeah.
So this one?
This one is from Midway Garden.
Midway Garden.
Yes.
Okay. So Pratima, I want to have this question to you because the theme of the fashion colloquium was heritage stories of change, our shared future. So considering that we knew that responsible fashion is going to be very important, and the whole we opened with the third series of the fashion colloquia with responsible future, and with you working with handlooms, and we're so fortunate that yesterday we had the National Handloom Day. And it's a very special occasion because handlooms is something that we're very proud of. And I know that most of the Western designers who actually pick up a lot of stuff from India actually work closely with the Indian handlooms and especially with the Indian craftsmanship that's available to us. So what actually inspired you to take on handlooms, and how did you weave your stories in handlooms?
Okay, thank you for having me. First of all, it's always a great honor to be here, and especially with all that interesting journeys that we have from fashion colloquia to so many things. And sharing my story would be, I think when I started off, I was very clear with the fact that I just don't want to be just a designer doing what everyone does, making beautiful clothes. But the idea was what one could offer beyond that also. So I thought it should be more of an inclusive fashion where you're not only doing it for the people, but also including many people in the process of whatever you're doing. So of course, handloom became the best choice. I mean, it was somewhere one can say that the journey happens accidentally also. For me, it was that, because I was when I was studying at NIFT, I realized that I was still not very clear as to what I really want to do. Of course, you want to design, but is there a purpose? Is there something? Are you going to be contributing to a larger picture? So these were questions in mind, and I so happened to, I happened to go to Oroville and witness the whole, sort of, you're sensitized to things which otherwise was, you were not really aware of being in the city. I'm a city girl. So, seeing, how the looms, how the fabric is made in the looms, all this was really intriguing for me. And of course, we've always seen it, but I guess we never, when you want to start as a designer, you really need to dig deep and figure out what is it that is happening. And when you see it for the first time, and I realized, okay, this is what I want to do, and I'm very clear. After that, I think I came back and from NIFT, and I think the next year after my master's, I realized I need to really launch my label seriously on a serious note and working with 100% handloom and handcrafted stuff. So I think when you start with that vision and with that sort of sensitized way, with the, I think it's far more humbling and far more fulfilling. And there's this, it's very, I think it's very interesting to do whatever you're doing with love, but at the same time, there's a far more different angle to it. And I think we have to take pride in what this uh, pride in the Indian textiles that we have, and we have it in I mean, I think we are not, I'm working with one textile for almost 10 years, Chanderi, but there are so many other textiles that we still need to go and address and work with and take it further. So uh, I think I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and I love it, and I'm glad that I can make a little contribution in my own special way. Yeah.
So tell me, Pratima, because you use the word intrigue, and before you came in, and we were just talking about at Arch, all our research, we conceived the 3 I's, right? That's intrigue, interactive, and innovative, right? 3 I's. And with all the 3 I's is the big I, the expression of the self. And I see a lot of expression of yours in your collection, where you've actually told a story every time, a story that touched you, a story that you connected with. Just tell us a couple of stories that you wove in your clothes.
I think most of my collections are an extension of my journey in life. Every year you're a different person, you grow as a person, you have different experiences. Like, of course, there was one collection called Alice Out of Wonderland, where I felt that, I'm the Alice. You're definitely the protagonist, and you're in a bubble, and you need to come out of that wonderland. And so that was a handloom that was khadi knit that I had come up with. So it was a khadi knit collection, and it revolved around you have to connect the dots. So when you're telling a story, you need to connect yourself, because you are telling the story. It has to be a lot of you. And of course, that's one of my favorite collections. Really.
In fact, I have to tell you, that's one of my favorite pick of yours when we connected 10 years back. Yeah. I remember at the Fashion Week.
You have Alice Out of Wonderland collection. Yes, you have that.
I remember a South cotton drape that you had used the drape technique, and then you've got this beautiful flowing khadi knits. I've never seen any designer do knits in khadi, and that was so amazing and beautiful. Yeah. So please go on to tell about your other stories. Yeah, the Jack and Jill. I'm interested in the Jack and Jill because we're all tumbling and stumbling now.
Yeah, this is quite a beautiful collection where it was again a story about me being the Jill and trying to impress the Jack. So we are looking at where I was dressing up to impress impress Jack. So Jack and Jill happens to be, I could see a lot of collars. The shoes were brooks where we gave. So, there was this girl trying to impress the guy. So that's why the Jack and Jill. So, and we have collections like Promises, where we made dots in the collection. All the handloom were, the Chanderi had little dots woven, the Kadwa techniques. Why? Because I felt every dot is a promise that you make. So you promise your mom to be a good daughter, promise to carry on with handloom, for example, with my promise. So these are promises that you don't have to tell the world, but it's you and your promises with yourself and the life you live. So Promises was another very, very touching collection of mine. I love the latest that I did was Dastan, where it was the celebration of 10 years of Prama. So my whole journey of what I've done. So we had a piece from practically all the collections, so far. So that was an amalgamation of all the collections. So again, I'm trying to tell a story. So that was my dastan. And we did Ek Tara also, where I was very scared that Handloom is going to die. We really have to come up. We have to revive it. So that's why Ek Tara, where I said that there's this one thread between Handloom and us, and let that thread be intact and alive. So that's why Ek Tara. And I think these stories are for me to tell what I want to say deep down, and for you guys to see the clothes and enjoy them. So together I'm having fun, and so are you guys. So yeah, there are many collections like that. We had the proposal, where I was waiting for somebody to propose me. So, and we made a lot of lehengas in that collection. So a Prama lehenga, which is very sort of intricate embroideries and very, detailed work. So, and a lot of embroideries. I do embroideries, but there's a sort of aesthetic limit to it. But in a proposal, we went beyond that. So there we are breaking rules. We are breaking our own version of what we are, and trying to come up with a different you every time. So I don't know what's going to be next, because with the COVID thing, I have no idea. But I'm going to listen to what's my experience been about life. So I think the next collection would be that experience captured in a collection. So it's like my diary. Awesome. I would say
that's beautiful.
My collections are my journey of life captured.
I'm sure, Pratima, we've got around 86 young people, around 80 of them who are here listening to this conversation to ours. And I see, how grounded you are, how honest and authentic you have to be in your designs when it comes to being original and innovative. And, I just remember, because you've been doing a lot of flowers, and in your latest collection, the one that I'm also wearing at the colloquium, you saw,
yes,
it's got the bird motifs. Yeah, you've got the birds there. And I have that jacket of yours, which has got the woolen thing.
Yes,
and
my
the
favorite.
over it.
That's from Ek Tara collection. Yes.
Okay, that's from the Ek Tara collection. Got it. Okay, so we've covered the heritage bit, we've covered the stories bit, and now we're going to talk about the change, right? The true change that we all have to live with. And while I would call not a change, I would call it transformation. Because I think a lot of the businesses will never see the light of what they were. And they're going to be completely transformed, right? In this whole new wave of transformation, I'm really curious, what is that you see that the design industry. So why I'm going to talk about the design industry, not just fashion, because the moment I talk about fashion, it's about spatial design, it's about your own store, it's about the setup, it's about the stage, it's about the lights, it's about the glamour, it's about the business, it's about the communications that you have to go with the thing, it's about the branding that gets into it, it's about the business aspect of it. So I think it's the most beautiful part about design that I like it, that it covers just everything.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
From science to commerce to arts. And then you talk it's completely in the applied sense that we know that design goes with. So, what do you really see that, in the kind of times where digital is getting big in a big way, and everybody's talking about the phygital, right? The physical and the digital going together. And there are a lot of virtual shows which are happening. And where do you see, as an expert from the industry, how it's going to look like? What is the new transformation going to look like?
I think I'm glad, frankly, you're asking. This is a very, very important question to address, and we all need to know that, because now we're going to live in the new normal. I think with the whole COVID experience, we have really sensitized ourselves to life, to things which we otherwise refused to see, or we forgot in the process. So I think now businesses will be built on on a different sort of formula, I would say. The fact that you are just not making money through whatever you're doing, there is a whole different purpose and a different angle. And of course, you're not going to only think of making clothes or making interiors or doing architecture or per se, you're going to keep environment in mind. You're going to keep people in mind. You're going to be, I mean, there is a different angle to it, which was there, but we refuse to accept that there's an angle like that. So I think in clothes also, we're going to be making sure that there's going to be a sustainable practice. You are trying to track your footprints, the global footprints you might just leave. So and I think, you know, the beauty is that if you don't address this point, it is going to sort of get back to us in a different way. So we really need to be aware and be cautious of what we're doing. So the consciousness is going to be the new pattern, and you know, sustainability is going to be there, and we have to adopt that, no matter if you like it or you're not, because it is going to stay. And I think with all this experience, we have accepted the fact that there's going to be love, there's going to be passion, there's going to be you can't just do because you have to do it. You have to do it because you love it and because you're passionate about it, and at the same time you're contributing to a different perspective altogether of a sustainable angle, which is very important. So also when you're talking about design, you have to understand what is design. Design is here to solve a problem. You know, that's the purpose of a design. And when you do it creatively, it becomes a better design. That's simple. You know, it's a very simple thing. So now the design brief has changed. The brief for design is to have a sustainable practice. Now, what according to you is sustainability? We will all have our own versions, but the purpose of doing whatever you're doing with the with the design into it is going to have a sustainable angle per se, 100% there. And I think that's pretty much what I would want to say for that.
Lovely, Pratima. So, you know, I just did this conversation where I talked about, again, the eye, and you talked about the eye and the love that eye, you know, because it's all about, again, an expression of who you are. And that's truly very important. So as a nation, I feel it's very important that who we are as a nation, right? And as a nation, how do we actually stand in this whole world? And I think yesterday, we just, a couple of days, we got this call from the Ministry of Textiles, from the Weaver Service Center, saying that, you know, students need to hashtag on Twitter, putting up their handlooms and things. The vocal for local, right? That was the hashtag for the Handloom Day. That was with the Ministry of Textiles posing
vocal for handmade.
No, vocal for local. That was the hashtag, right?
Local was there, yeah.
Yeah.
The new hashtag is vocal for handmade.
Okay, got it. So, and then again, with Modi ji giving that the local to global or whatever kind of thing. So I think it's very important to look at the indigenous knowledge and strength. And with Jaipur being a World Craft Heritage City, a heritage site, and, you know, lately, I mean, the latest development, it's been also being designated as the most creative city.
Wow.
Are you aware of it?
So nice.
Yeah, by UNESCO.
Yes, I think you mentioned it in colloquia, I think.
Yeah. And, you know, I think it's a great opportunity for younger people, you know, who are actually from this state itself to recognize the talent, the indigenous knowledge that we have. I think we are one of the most richest states in the country when it comes to our handicrafts, it comes to our craft culture, when it comes to our weavers. I think especially when our printing techniques are more evolved, more globally accepted. So I think young people definitely need to see that, you know, how they can be locally more sustainable in terms of looking at their ideas being taken at a global level. So I think it's a very valid point where, you know, like-minded people think alike. So I could see that, you know, how much we resonate in terms of what you were also saying, and what I touched upon a couple of some minutes back.